Welcome back, you guys. I'm EFC, this is Blue9 CV, and I'm bringing you guys another news daily video. For today's video, I'll be talking about the latest reports surrounding us and Philippe Coutinho. I'll be speaking about Bruno Guimaraes. I'll be speaking about the futures of Emerson and Marcos Alonso. I'll talk about Tammy Abraham and his latest contract demands. And to end things, I'll be speaking about Pedro and his possible destination to the MLS. But before I get into anything, you guys, if you like today's video, smash that like button, help me get over 2,000 likes, and of course today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. Now, I've been saying the OneFootball app this entire year, and I know that a lot of you guys like to leave things very last minute. Now, before 2020 comes, you guys, before it comes, download the app in 2019, give it a go. I'm telling you, next year when you're watching football, you're going to realize how convenient the OneFootball app is. If you want it, you guys will find it in the link below. But now we start with the first story, and I'm going to be talking about Philippe Coutinho and links with the club. Now, this story has been brought to you guys by El Desmarque, the same outlet from Spain that's been breaking the Isco story, and they're suggesting that us and other Premier League clubs are still interested in the possibility of signing Coutinho. Now, yeah, even though he's signed for Bayern Munich right now, remember he's only there on loan, and at the end of his loan spell, there's reports suggesting that Bayern would have to pay 100 million to sign him on a permanent. And it's looking quite obvious that Bayern won't have the funds to do that, and they're most likely not going to spend that type of money on Coutinho when they still want to sign Sane for Man City. Now, since Coutinho has signed for Bayern Munich, he's gone back to his very best, so I can understand why interest has come back in for the player. Coutinho has been adding goals and assists, and when you really think about it, it was quite obvious that he was naturally going to struggle playing under Valverde. Playing under Valverde at Barcelona would mean that Coutinho needs more intensity, more energy, and a much more effective and better defensive game, and they were things that Coutinho never had. And of course, if you're signing for Barcelona, you know that Messi is going to take up all the most dangerous and best positions, with how he plays his game, and that meant that Coutinho was always going to play a more sacrificial role. But now, let's think about Coutinho, and let's think about how it would work if he signed for the club. Now, from a tactical perspective, I see him playing more down the left-hand side compared to playing as the number 10 in the team. And the main reason for that is because Coutinho is not going to help lead the press with Tammy Abraham. Coutinho is not the guy that wins his 50-50s or has that defensive game. I think if he signed for us on a hypothetical, he'd be playing down the left-hand side. And that's because his starting position is obviously going to be down the left, but from there, he can find spaces, he can cut inside, he can roll more in field, and that's the qualities that Lampard wants from the wide playmakers. In that sense, he literally becomes an Eden Hazard replacement. But my thing is, if you're signing Coutinho to play down the left-hand side, well, it means that you have to sign a more dominating left back. If he's going to be leaving his position, you want to make sure that your left back is dominating that area, getting forward and being very comfortable in the final third. And the reason why I bring this point up, you guys, is that if you're signing Coutinho, it means that you have to spend even more money on top of that 100 million that Barcelona want just to get the very best out of the player. And this is why I don't really see us signing him. Not only that, but the most important fact too is that he would stifle Hudson-Odoi's development. Frank holds Callum in such high regards. He spoke to the player so many times before the season started, giving him so many reassurances. Lampard is not the guy to go against his word. He sticks to his words, so for that reason, I don't see Coutinho being signed. The question is this story a fake and is it being made up? I don't think so. It's not the first time that we have been linked with Coutinho. And for me, you guys, it's quite obvious that Coutinho is part of a pool of players that's on the shortlist. For example, let's say that we're not able to sign your Sanchos or get guys like your Chukwuezes, your Zahars, Dembele's or the other wingers. Well, I guess Coutinho, who's down at 6th or 7th place, would be that option. As I'm saying, a Coutinho move would come down to the fact that we failed to sign other high priority targets. And to end this story on a positive, this story tells us that the club are looking at the right style and profile of players to add to the team. That can only be a positive. Imagine a hypothetical world where we didn't get any of the guys we wanted, but we were forced to sign Coutinho. You know that he's still going to add something to the team. He's going to bring some X factor, some class, some goals, and some experience in the final third. In the comment section below, you guys, do you like Coutinho? Would you like to see him? Let me know why in the comments below. Now, we move on to the second story, and that's in regards to Tammy Abraham and his latest contract demands. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this straight. I heard the story a few weeks ago, about 2.5 weeks. Of course, the story sounded a bit mad, with Tammy Abraham wanting money on parity with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I know that this fan base can be a bit sensitive when money and young players get mixed, and that's why I didn't want to talk about the story. I'm a fan channel. I'm not going to do anything to affect any of the players, to bring any negativity or add any unnecessary pressure. I see how people react on social media. But of course, you guys, this story was not going to stay low for too long. The reports came out today, and yeah, they are correct. Tammy Abraham wants to be on the same contract as Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi is currently on 180k per week. Tammy Abraham is currently on 50k per week. Tammy has 14 goals this season. From his point of view, he must be thinking, I'm offering way more to the team currently compared to Hudson-Odoi, who's not even getting in the team consistently. Now, I'm getting all the goals, the big decisive goals. I feel like my value has to be reflected by my contract. Now, before people think that this is greed, it's not. For me, I see it as simple football economics. It's what happens. It's natural. You need to fight for what your value and what your worth is. And before people only think that Tammy is after the money, I think one of the main reasons too is that if he is on this big contract, his wage demands are going to reflect his importance to the team. We've all played Football Manager. When it comes to signing a player, you give certain players, key player status, first team status, rotation status, backup status, etc, etc. And that's how you keep the parity in the squad. Now that Tammy Abraham broke his deadlock against big clubs by scoring against Arsenal, that's only going to boost his odds on getting the contract he wants. And for me, you guys, I think he's worth all the money in the world. 180k per week isn't even that crazy. Let's be real, let's keep things extremely real. We've signed other strikers for more money that produce way less. Way less. Way less. Tammy is much younger than them. His output, his quality, and how he plays for the team is on a much better level than what I saw from guys like Torres and Morata. And come on, this guy was always going to be a striker that was one day going to earn 200k per week plus. He's shown that he's ready for it. He's shown that he's good enough to lead the line. And honestly, I'm cool with him receiving any type of money he wants. Now we move on to the third story for today, and that's in regards to a guy that I've spoken about quite a lot on this channel, and his name is Bruno Guimaraes. Now he is a young up and coming Brazilian midfield player. By this time, you guys, you should know who he is, so I'm not going to give you any debriefing. The news coming out now is that us and Arsenal are currently in the running to try and sign the player. Now that Mikel Arteta has recently signed for Arsenal, well, he wants to reinforce the midfield. And it's looking possible that Xhaka could be leaving Arsenal, with Arsenal being open to potentially selling the player if the right offer comes in. And at this moment in time, Hertha Berlin have offered a 30 million offer to sign Xhaka from Arsenal. So basically, if Xhaka does leave, well, Bruno is that ready-made replacement to take over. On top of that, you guys, we also have Benfica and Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid being the club who are actually leading the race, who have been very close to actually signing him already. So Bruno is a player in extremely high demand. But the question comes to us, and do we actually have any space to actually fit the player? Potentially, possibly. And that's because from what I'm actually hearing, there's a possibility that Ross Barkley could be sold this window if the right offer comes in. Barkley is not in Frank Lampard's plans. The guy never helped himself getting caught out in the press doing stupid stuff on his nights out. And the Mail states that Lampard could be potentially looking to re-strengthen the area in the next window. Now, Conor Gallagher was seen as a potential replacement for Ross Barkley, but the club had reservations because they don't want to ruin his progression and his development at Charlton this season. Gallagher's done very well, so let's not ruin his momentum. Let him get that consistent game time so he can get that experience and really grow his game. And another reason why I feel like Bruno doesn't make too much sense now is because Ruben is returning back to the team in January. This guy is going to be our biggest signing of that period because he had so much X factor to the team. He is that talismanic figure that we're missing in the final third. He takes responsibility, he can get goals. He had 15 goal contributions last season, barely playing. 15, barely playing. The guy is a special talent, and I don't see there being any spaces for for Bruno to really occupy the first team. Now, remember you guys, I'm stressing for this January window. Who knows what's going to happen in the summer? You know, when Frank Lampard gets to really reevaluate the team even more and really shape the squad in his own mould, then potentially there could be spots for your Brunos in the future. If there's a reason why we're looking at him and your Sunderbergs, we would not be looking at midfielders for no reason. Now we move on to the final two stories today, starting with the latest on Emerson and Marcos Alonso. Now it's looking like Antonio Conte from Inter Milan wants either Alonso or Emerson to help strengthen that left wing back spot in his team. As Samoa has been suffering with a lot of injuries this season, Conte has a previous with Emerson and Marcos Alonso, and at this point in time, Inter have placed an offer for Marcos Alonso. They've offered 2 million as the loan fee up front, and at the end of the loan, they'd pay 18 million. And this is where the issues come because that valuation falls way below anything the club wants. We want at least at minimum 35 million euros for the player. Inter Milan are shot by about 15 million euros. I guess they have to be like that because another stumbling block is Marcos Alonso's contract. He's currently earning 100k per week, and I guess they'd have to find a way to talk him down to receiving less money, or really just like gassing up the clauses in his contract to make things even more attractive. I see Alonso as the player to get sold in this window. It's been reported that Emerson likes his time in London, he doesn't want to go, and as I said in a previous video, it would make no sense to sell the much younger player for less money. Question is now though, can we afford to let Marcos Alonso leave? If we are going to use a back three system at times, well, Alonso does have some merits. We saw against Tottenham that he can put in a big shift when you need him, and he could be a decent backup replacement until the season ends. But the thing is, you guys, I would agree with what I said if it didn't come down to other news I'm hearing. Now, from what I'm hearing as well, Man City want to sign Nathan Ake this window. And when I mean they want to sign, they are preparing and getting a bid ready to sign the player. Pep wants Ake in his team, and this means that if we want to sign Nathan Ake, we'll be forced into action. We'll have to sign the player and compete right now, and of course we have the advantage because we just need to meet the buyback clause. And if we can sign Nathan Ake, then I think we can easily, comfortably let Marcos Alonso leave. Nathan Ake does have experience playing as a left back, as well as playing in midfield and in defence. He'll be that outlet down the left hand side because he does have a left foot. That's one thing that none of our centre backs really have. Times when Lampard wants to use a 3-4-3 system, I mean, look at the team, you guys. Nathan Ake, Zuma in the middle, and either Tomori or Rudiger out wide. It feels like perfect sense to let Marcos Alonso leave because I think now's the time for action. Man City will sign Nathan Ake if we don't step in and meet the clause. It's as simple as that. And to end things, we end with Pedro, and it's looking like he has interest from the MLS. Inter Miami, the club owned by David Beckham, have been speaking to Pedro about the possibility of signing him and bringing him to the MLS. Now, Pedro came out not too long ago in an interview on a Spanish radio station talking about how during the summer there was actually a very small window of the possibility of returning back to Barcelona. Pedro said afterwards that if Barca came back in for him, he would drop everything and go straight back to them. And you know what? I don't think we should be angry by him saying that. I'm always going to respect honesty from the player. And come on, Pedro has won every single thing in football. At this point, the guy can do anything he wants. Pedro is 32, he has 6 months left on his deal. The most positive thing about Pedro leaving is that we can reduce the wage bill. And we're going to need that when Lampard comes to restructuring and rebalancing the entire squad. And you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm BRUNO FC. This is Blue Lions TV. See you guys in a bit.